Hello, my name is Simon Benham and I'm the ICT trainer at Somerset College. Today's video is all about smartboards, and I'm going to be showing you how to use them and also a quick example of how you might use them in your class. So first things first, obviously we have the board, and when you turn on a computer you'll also have this smartboard tool bar here, and that's where all of our software tools are. But aside from that, we also have our hardware tools down the bottom. So obviously there's a lot of technology inside the board, but there is also a great deal of technology inside this pen tray. So for example, when I pick up the black pen, I get an ink layer, which means I can now write on the board. So I begin writing, and you can see it's quite a smooth process. Now this pen doesn't actually have any technology inside it. It is in fact a piece of plastic. I could put a banana into the slot here, start writing, and it would still think it's black because the tray is where the technology is at. This bit here is the black tray, so when I pick up a pen from there, it says, okay, that's black. Same for red, green, and blue. In the middle we have a rubber, so if I pick up the rubber, I can begin to erase my work on the board. So that's the pen tray. Very, very simple. Pick up a pen and start writing. Pick up a rubber and erase stuff. To get rid of your smartboard ink layer, all you need to do is come up to the top and click on the X. Once I've done that, I lose the writing I have on my screen, but I can now use the board as if it was a computer. So if I grab an icon, I can move it around the board just as I would if I was sat at my computer. My finger is acting as a mouse pointer. So now I can do exactly what I want to do as if I was on a computer. So what I'll do is I'll show you a quick example of how to use the board, and then I'll show you also how to calibrate the board if it was not in a working state. So I'll load up Internet Explorer just by double clicking as you would on any computer. So here's the college homepage. And what I want to do is I'm going to go to Google. So, as always, I come up to the address bar and I click, and then I type Google. But I can't type Google because I don't have a keyboard. There's a keyboard at my desk, but I want to stand here and I want to use the board. So what I can do is come down to the pen tray again, and in the center of the pen tray there's a keyboard button. It has a little keyboard picture on it. So all I do is click that one and my on-screen keyboard pops up. Now all I do again is come to my address bar, highlight the top, and type in www.google.com, or whatever it is you're looking for. Once I've done that, I can hit enter, just as I would on my keyboard. And there's Google. So now I'm going to find my example picture, and I'll type into here, and there we go. I'll choose that one there, that's fine. And I'll go to images, and this picture here will do just fine. So I'll close my keyboard, I'm done with that, and I can do that just by clicking on the X, as I do with any program. Now what I could do is, from here, I could pick up my pen and start using this as my diagram. Now I've used this diagram here as a human body, but you can adapt that for your lesson. I mean, if you were doing sports, you could have a football pitch and you could start writing on that, but I'm going to use this diagram here. Now what I want to do is I want to save this to my desktop. What you would normally do is you would right click and you would save to your desktop. But as I don't have a right click, because every point I do is a left click, I need to find a way of right clicking. And again, I come down to the smartboard tray, click on the mouse button, which is right next to the keyboard button, and what it says is your next screen press will be a right click. So all I do is click on the board, and there's my right click. So I'll save this picture to my desktop, just as I would any other picture, and save. I already have it on my desktop, so I will press yes and replace, and that's it. It's on my desktop and we're ready to go. So I'll close down Internet Explorer, and then I'll show you how to use this in a lesson. So I'll just go to the top, close that, and now load up my diagram. So I'll just make this a bit bigger, and down the bottom here as well. Okay, so here's our diagram. So you can imagine a scenario. You're in a lesson, you've got your students in front of you, and rather than having them sat around a class and putting their hands up, I'm going to invite them to come along and interact with this picture. So I'm going to pick up the black pen, and one of the examples would be, I could say, well, Timmy, come up here and show me where you think the brain is. So they come up, and they just write in where they think the brain is. So you can already get the picture of how we might interact with this picture. But we can do more of it than just pick up a pen and write on it. So I'm going to refer to my smartboard tools, software tools, down this column here. And what we have here is, we have this pen here is our pen tool. So if I don't like the colours, generic I've got black, red, green and blue. If I don't like those colours, I can go with other colours. So I click on my pen button up here, and then I can choose different colours. So I'm going to go with this bluey green colour here, just by clicking on it. Now I have the black pen in my hand. I picked it up from the black tray, but because I've chosen green on there, my next write-in will be in green. So I'll just demonstrate that now. I hope you can see that. Okay, so I just wrote in there heart, and it's green because I chose green from my smartboard tools. So that's one of the features in this tray. Another feature is the highlighter tool. So if I click on the highlighter tool, which is that yellow pen, I then have a selection of colours for me to choose from. Again, I can click on the colour and then start to use that on the board. But I don't like any of the colours here, so what I'm going to do is, whenever you see this cog here, click on it and you'll find extra options for you to use it with that tool. So I'm going to go to line style, and I'm going to choose a different colour from this palette. If I want to be really specific about what colour I want, I can click on more, and then of course I've got a massive array of colours for me to choose from. I'm going to go with this purple colour here, add that, press OK, and then find my colour. I think it was that one there, save, and now I have my purple. I think it's that one there, so I click on that one, and now I can highlight in purple. So an example might be, I say to someone, where do you think, or what position on the body hurts when you have a heart attack, for example? And you invite your student up, they pick up the pen, they just highlight the area they think is necessary. And if that's correct, well done. If it's not, pick up your rubber and erase it and go again. So that's another tool for us. That's the highlighter tool, and that's the yellow pen. Another option for us is to use this arrow tool, which is directly below the highlighter. So I will click on that one, and then I have different colours to choose from, and also different arrow types to choose from. I've got double arrowheads, I've got a simple line, I've got a dotted line and arrow, and I've also got a simple arrow. So it's up to you which one you want to choose. I'm going to go with this black one here and click. As soon as I click, I've got this little crosshair here. Now what I do is place my finger somewhere on the board and then drag. So an example would be, I say to Susie, can you show me where the lungs are on this picture? She comes up with her pen or with her finger, she presses on the board and then drags to the lungs. So that's another example. And then from there she could write in lungs and even sign it if she wanted to. So that's the arrow tool. Again, quite simple. The next one we have is the shapes tool. So let's imagine that this picture didn't come with the boxes it came with. Let's imagine it was blank and I had to draw in the boxes from scratch. I would choose my shapes tool, and then from there I can choose different shapes. I've got a square, a circle and a triangle. So I'm going to go with the box, and then exactly the same as the arrow, all I do is put my finger on the board and drag. And I can make that as big or as small as I like. It doesn't have to be a square, it can be a rectangle. It depends where I drag my finger. So I'm going to put mine just about there. And now that's acting as a text box, because I could then write inside that box and draw an arrow. So you can begin to adapt the picture as well as include writing to it. So that's the shapes tool, very simple. The next tool we have is the right click button. I showed you that earlier by using the board, but if you don't want to go to the board and click on that button, you can click on the mouse icon and that will do exactly the same. My next click will be a right click.